Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Top of the day. Cheers and a hearty God bless you to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see you. So glad that you are here. It is your girl, Scheria, Nurse Scheria, also known as Pastor's wife, mother to three daughters, grandmother to one grandson, and detox nurse by trade, coming to you all the way live on this Monday, September 11, 2023. And I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm so glad that you are joining me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm trying to get myself situated here on this floor. It seems like it is a day of all thumbs for me. But yes, 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 I'm coming to you all the way live from my living room today. And I wanted to, I started not to come on. I started to take another day, but in honor of 9/11, I can't believe it's been 22 years since 9/11. I thought I would do a special just talking about the trauma and healing from the trauma, because as a nation, we have watched and been through a whole lot of trauma. And so, yes, and yes, and yes, we're going to dig deep and uncover some of the layers, talking about, like I said, the trauma and dealing with the trauma from 9/11. So I'll bring all those perspectives to you, and move forward. I hope that you have something that will encourage you, edify you, and empower you as you move forward in your day, your week, your month, and your ongoing year. Can you believe it? We are already in November 2023. So hopefully your vision, your goals, you've been able to check off different things that you started off back in January, March, quarter by quarter, week by week. You have been able to check off some of the things on your to-do list. And so we're going to get right into it, talking about remembering 9/11. I can actually remember where I was in 9/11. I will never forget it. The TV was on. I was getting my daughters ready for school, um, and it came on, the towers going down, and I was like, "Is this real?" Like, oh my, I can take you to where I was. And so, if you're watching this, can you remember where you were on 9/11? What you were doing, where you were at, what was happening around you? Go ahead and comment in the comments and let me know. Also, hashtag replay if you're coming through on the replay. Go ahead and hashtag replay so that I can warmly greet you and welcome you to today's live and or replay. So yes and yes and yes. So I did the intro, I did the welcome, and we're gonna go ahead and, like I said, I remember 9/11, and I know our enemies meant it for bad, um, but it has, to over these 22 years, it has been a demonstration of the resiliency of the human spirit. And I just want to kind of, I know there's different perspectives that are floating around social media today, but that is the perspective that I want to come from today. And that is the resiliency of the human spirit, not social, not political, not denominations, just from a point of faith and belief in the power of resiliency in the human spirit, and to manage and work through trauma, because we as a nation, as humans, have seen a lot of traumatic events that are going on, whether it's been locally, whether it's been as a nation. We have walked through many traumatic events that have caused trauma, post-traumatic stress, and we're in need of healing. We're in need of tools, self-care, self-love tools to help us walk through that journey and process, healthfully process some of these different things. So again, remembering 9/11, I can't believe it's been 22 years. Um, and a lot has happened, a lot has transpired. And if you remember, if you've been following me for any amount of time, um, last year for my birthday, I checked off New York. I went to New York by train, um, for my birthday, celebrate my birthday and anniversary in New York. and we went on a sightseeing tour, and it was an all day tour. I think it was 6 or 8 hours, one of them. And one of the places that we stopped off was the Twin Towers, the place of remembrance. And at first, I really didn't want to go, but it was a longer stop on our journey. And the way they had it set up, where we could either participate or kind of like be on our own. And they really did, the architectures, creators of that memorial really did a fantabulous job. I mean, they did a great job of putting together a place where people can come to remember, people can come to reflect, people can come to pay honor and tribute to those who lost their lives on that day, tragic day, 9/11. And there's many layers to unpack here. Like, you have the people who actually lost the humans, the men, women, boys, girls, who lost their lives on that day. And that is such a time of mourning and hurt and devastation, and basically literal ashes. Like, there was a lot of ashes and fumes and in the air, that caused. That's another layer we can talk about: the environmental part of it, the spiritual part of it, the physical part of it, and the fact that people who actually lost their lives. Then you have those who, the family members of those who lost their lives. Then you have the first responders who were there, nurses, EMTs, people who poured in, all levels of first responders. Then you have the news media, and then people that were born after 9/11. So there's multiple layers to move through, to walk through, as relates to trauma, post-traumatic stress, and just dealing with that. And so there's many tributes that are going on today. You just type in 9/11 news. There was one of the articles that I pulled up and was reading was from the New York Times. They did a great job. Um, I was glad to see that political people were able to put aside their differences and come together for this, and that is a great and honorable thing to do. As we're And that's one of the things. God bless you. Welcome to the live. Please let me know where you're watching from. Comment in the comment section and let me know where you are watching from. Hi there. Oh, okay. Be safe. Be safe as you're driving on your way home. On them, because them highways and byways and freeways ain't no joke. Folks is doing all kind of things nowadays. They're doing all kind of things, but yeah, comment when you get a chance or you get a moment. Let me know where you were. Well, let me highlight this comment. I'm trying to do better on that and highlighting all the comments. So here we have Cynthia said, "Hello, I'm driving home, but I am listening." And so, yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, be safe while you're driving. And when you get to a safe spot, go ahead and comment and let me know what you were doing on the day of, if you remember what you were doing on the day of 9/11, if you remember where you were at, what you were doing, and the surroundings and whatnot. Like I said, I remember very, very clearly. I was at home with my daughters. We were getting them ready for school. The TV was on, and I can remember the whole event flashing, and thinking it was a horrible joke. It couldn't be real. Like, what is going on? Oh my God! And just the whole um, this unbelievable impact that had. And again, this show again is focusing on the resiliency of the human spirit. I know there's lots of different agendas or thought processes about or different views. Let me say it that way. There's different views about 9/11, who did it, conspiracies and all that. But I really want to home in and focus on the resiliency of the human spirit and being able to move through trauma, because we've had, like I said, it's been 22 years. We've had a lot of traumatic experiences, and I'm hoping that we as a people, as a nation, will begin to tune in and focus on our trauma, not bury it, not act like it didn't happen, but be able to talk it out. Cynthia said, I remember being in elementary school and at a stopping class early in the morning and turning on the TV and seeing what was going on, but not really understanding. I really remember my teacher crying. Yes, yes, very good. There was a lot of tears shed, rightfully so, and that is part of working through, our trauma. Sometimes people have delayed reactions. Everybody processes differently. And so sometimes people have an immediate response. Sometimes, takes people time to process and let themselves give themselves permission to be okay. Hello, my HO scale. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your continued support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes, working through trauma is so very very important, regardless of your religious belief, religious affiliation, political persuasion, cultural persuasion. No matter what your size, your height, your weight, your credit score, like whatever circle you move in, all of us as human beings have to be able to come to a point at some point in time where we have a strategy, a tool, um, a process, a plan, how to work through traumatic events. I know some people, they're believers and they pray, and that's great. We want to pray. We want to be a people of prayer. Yes, individually pray, corporately pray, as a community pray. Yes, and yes, and yes. There's all kind of tools and resources. But my heart is going out to today the survivors, and I just want to have a moment of silence. Hello, God bless you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have Michelle here. Hello from San Pablo. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. And so, if you are just tuning in, coming to the show, please let me know, let the community know if you remember where you were when 9/11 happened. And like I was saying, I remember very clearly. I was at home, I was getting my daughters ready for school, and the TV was on, of course. And it came on, and it was just like unbelievable. And so it was like shocking, it was unbelievable, it was sad, it was like, how could this happen, like what is going on, is this real, those kind of things. God bless you. God bless you, Alex. Welcome, 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 all my folks in the house today. All right, shout out to Alex. Shout out to Michelle from San Pablo. Shout out to my HO Scale. Shout out to Cynthia. All my folks in the room today. And so I am curious, do you remember where you were on 9/11? And then how have we been processing, remembering that? And there was a very devastating moment. Like I was said last year for our anniversary slash birthday, um, I went to New York, um, and it was a very pleasant experience. And one of the stops was the actual 9/11 memorial. They have done, whoever the architects were, um, the builders of that, the visionary of that, did an absolutely fantabulous job. Because at first I was like, I don't want to go. It's going to be sad, you know. But I went. We went anyway, and it was just really they did. It absolutely is a moment of to reflect. It absolutely they have turned that space where the towers were. There's water there. There's like a reflection pool. Um, so yes, they have built. They have the names of all the people who lost their lives. Um, you can lay flowers there. You can have moments of reflection. Um, like I said, and so yes, and yes, and yes, and so it really again caused me to remember what I was doing on 9/11, and at that point thinking about the stress and the trauma, and hoping and praying that we as a people, as a nation, are able to move through and process and give ourselves permission. Because here's the thing, since I started this channel and talking about self-care, self-love, and managing stress and anxiety, and a lot of times we don't give ourselves to permission to process, work through, um, whatever you manage, how we are feeling. And a lot of times we just push it in. We stuff it in, we bury it or whatever. And so it's my prayer that as you are remembering, and as we are here talking about this, and as this live goes out and people watch the replay, it's my goal and my prayer that we are moving in a healthy way, in a healthy way. Um, Towards healing, towards processing, um, towards healing, towards processing, and all those things, all of the things that we can be stronger, that we can be better, that we can be wider, that we can be wiser. There's a song. There's a song. I believe it's by Hezekiah Walker that says, "Tell them we made it. We survived." And that is so true. That was a moment. Of, like I said, hurt, devastation, mourning. But we as a people have the power to be resilient, have resilience, and and move and walk into healing, and restoration and faith. And so yes, and yes, and yes. And so my prayer today is for the survivors. So survivors, there's many layers here. So there's survivors, those who actually have family members who were lost. We have the survivors of the people who actually survived, who were either in the building or in the surroundings and survived. We have the family members of those who lost their lives, who are moving. We have the first responders who were there responding, who also have trauma from that, and also medical issues from just being in the environment and all the chemicals and different particles that were moving around that they inhaled. And so there is much to unpack and to unlayer here. And it's my prayer that all these different levels um, and different points of view that have been birthed out from this, it's my prayer that it would not be a point that would cause us to separate, but to bring us together. Because like I said, when you peel everything back and you look at the resiliency of the human spirit and the hand of and how the hand of the Lord was moving in that, yes, and yes, and yes, it is a demonstration of the resiliency. And were you guys aware, who are watching, that it's been 22 years? Can you believe that? Like, it's been 22 years since 9/11. That is just awesome. That, I mean, it's not awesome, but it's an awesome testimony of processing and healing and being able to move forward. And so, that was a dark time. That was a time of reflection, but at the same time, it was an opportunity for us to come together as individuals, as a people, as a nation, as a city, as, region, you know, and put our differences aside and work together to bring about transformation and healing. So yes, and yes, and yes. Shout out to all the survivors, whether you were there in the place, and then we also have to think about the people who were born after that, right? So was that generation? Is it Generation X? The people who were born after that, who are post 9/11, are coming through that and having to, deal with um, what's the word I want to say? Um, the after effects of all that, the mindset and the processing and um, the residue of that. And so, sound off in the comments and let me know what your thoughts are about that on these different levels. Um, of processing and healing. And I just want to, of course, people say you say the same five, but I want to give 5 tools in case you are listening to this, and you're dealing with some type of trauma, whether it's related to 9/11 or not related to 9/11. Your girl, this chick is always gonna try to give you at least 5 tools to have in your arsenal to help you move through, walk through, manage, cast down, whatever you want to do, anxiety, PTSD, trauma, stress, all those different things. So the first one I would say, I'm a big, huge, although I shouldn't say but I am a huge promoter of deep breathing, the power of the deep breathing. And I have people say, well, why do you say that? Because when you're holding your breath, a lot of times we don't even realize we are holding our breath. Like we don't even realize it. Like it's such a response. Like it could be a trauma response, or if it's just how we deal, how we move through life. A lot of times we are holding our breath, and listen, the brain is not going to function. The lungs are not going to function without breath. You can't see it, but it's very, very powerful. And so you can have delayed thinking, delayed responses like brain fog, all that kind of stuff. If so, I encourage everyone. Number one, deep breathing. Like it's so vitally important. Deep breathing. Number two, walk. Get out in nature. Walk. Even if there's no sunshine, I see some sunshine out there now. But even if there's no sunshine, if it appears to be foggy wherever you're at, get outside to change of scenery and walk. So you're getting a change of scenery, you're getting fresh air, you're able to breathe that in to help brain function, and all those different kind of things. You're getting sunshine, aka vitamin E. You're getting you're moving your body. All those things help and move into a different space, into healing and dealing and processing. So yes, yes, yes. Also aromatherapy. So aroma scents can trigger good memories. They can bring you into your favorite scent. Comment in the comment section and let me know what your favorite scent is. We're going through 5. This is number 3 of 5 strategies, tools that you can use to help process trauma. Again, whether it's related to 9/11 or any other type of trauma, whether you've had a death of a loved one, some type of loss in your family, in your circle, whatever type of trauma you may be dealing with, because people are dealing and walking through a lot of trauma these days. Also, comment and let me know what you did this weekend. I had a day of rest on Saturday. I was able to rest. On Sunday, we had a busy day. We had a great service. And we also had a baptism, which was really, really good. We were able to connect with a church in the community. And again, these are things I'm bringing this up to say, even though that was a traumatic time, and a lot of times we go through seasons or days or times of trauma, but as we move through that, we're able to create new relationships, new opportunity, and move forward in new ways that probably didn't think that we could do. So yes, and yes, and yes. I'm drinking this juice, y'all. I'm trying to get 5 juices in today. 5 of these jars of juices today. That's my goal for today. But yes, so we gave 3 tools, right? Let's go into number 4. Therapeutic communication. So I know people are touchy about this, but sometimes just having somebody to talk it out, to listen, can be beneficial, because you hear yourself. There's a level of processing when you speak something out. On this channel, we are firm believers that there is life and death in the power of your tongue, and just flushing that out, having somebody, sounding brass, a trusted ear to listen to you, as you talk through your feelings and emotions. Now, whether that's a trusted friend, whether that's a clergy member, whether or not that is a therapist, I am a firm believer, a nurse. A lot of times the Lord will send people into our lives, across our paths, that will be a listening ear to help us and to encourage us and to support us. And so, yes, utilize therapeutic communication. And last but certainly not least, I can keep going on. I would I would absolutely I would absolutely I'm sorry, my throat is dry, y'all. Talking about prayer, we want to make sure we're moving forward in prayer. Now, you may not call it prayer, you may call it meditation, you may call it quiet time. Um, there are different forms of prayer. And so I'm hoping and praying that we move through that. So again, we have prayer, we have therapeutic communication, we have aromatherapy, we have walking. You can walk by the water, you can walk in nature, and then the deep breathing. Those are my fives. You also have stretching, believe it or not, just doing shoulder rolls, 15 shoulder rolls, front and back. That is a way of processing and just releasing pent up stress and energy that the body, because the body, believe it or not, the body can hold on to, especially if we're not hydrated. That's another thing I could say. Make sure you stay hydrated. I know when we stress and we're under pressure and we're trying to deal with stuff, you don't always think that's one of the last things you want to do is eat or drink, but your body needs that. All right. Hello, Trevion. Well. All right. African Aboriginals. We have Brother Trevion. Thank you so much for stopping by and for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. This is a pleasant surprise. Yes, and yes, and yes. Thank you for tuning in. Again, shout out to let's see, African Aboriginals, Travion, shout out to Alex, shout out to Michelle, shout out to my HO Scale and Cynthia and all the other folks that are here. I know there's people watching who just don't like to comment, don't like to leave a footprint, if you will. But oh, that's your new website? African Aboriginals. Okay. Okay. Congratulations on your new website. So yes, and yes, and yes. I want to encourage everyone and use this as an opportunity. We want to give a shout out again to all those who have lost their life and not lost their life in 9/11, the family members of those, the first responders, those who survived that incident, um, and the first responders, just everyone, all those layers. We want to make sure that we are processing our trauma, okay? And one of the things, give yourself permission, right? We always want to be strong. We want to be strong. We want to appear strong. We want to be strong for everybody else. And that's a vision of this particular channel, is you want to keep your cup full, right? I talked about it a few live streams back, that how can we pour into others if our cup is empty, right? And so we want to make sure our cup is full of love, joy, peace, long suffering, goodness, whatever you want to call it. We want to make sure our cups are full, because all of us, regardless of where we are in life, we have been called for a purpose. Were allowed to survive for a reason, for a purpose. I know many of us have pain, like we're talking about. Many of us have trauma. Many of us don't understand why things happen to us. But it's my firm belief that we have survived for a reason. There is a purpose for the pain that we have, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain. It serves a purpose, and oftentimes, through time, we can understand those things, that oftentimes we don't understand. And then too, sometimes things won't make sense until we get before our creator. Some things we go through in life, there's just no rhyme or reason to it. Like, we look for the answer, we look for the reason why. And a lot of times, we're not gonna find it down here. We won't have that fullness, that understanding until we meet our maker. And when we get before our maker, all things will be revealed. Okay. And so I want to move it to a quote of the day, and it is absolutely lining up with this. And this is the scripture that came to me. It's in Isaiah 61:3, and it is talking about beauty for ashes. And that, absolutely, if you ever get a chance to go to New York and see the remembrance that the place of remembrance that they have erected there, pool of remembrance, and different things that they have set up there just to go and reflect. I would absolutely encourage you to go if that's on your travel bucket list. I would absolutely encourage you to go and to do that. But really, they have made that particular spot a place of ashes and devastation. They have really made it a place of beauty, again, to reflect, and be thankful, and pay respects to those who lost their lives on that day, 9/11. So that quote of the day is talking about having beauty for ashes from Isaiah 61:3. And I'm going to do the song of the day, and then I'm going to pray. We're going to pray together, and I'm going to pray with you and for you on this day. And so I want to share my screen with you real quick. And somebody sent this to me, somebody who knows me. Where is it at? Oh, let me show y'all this scripture real quick before I move. Here's the scripture in Isaiah 61:3. This is a New Living Translation. To all who mourn in Israel, he will give a crown of beauty for ashes, a joyous blessing instead of mourning, festive praise instead of despair. In their righteousness, they will be like great oaks that the Lord has planted for his own glory. So I wanted to use that one, the portion that says a crown of beauty for ashes. And then I want to go back in here and go to, now I don't want to hit a community strike from the UYT. But here is one of my music lists. I'm going to play a few seconds of it. And it's a song, and it says, See What the Lord Has Done by Nathaniel Bassey. Has over 19 million views, 145 likes on YouTube Music, as well as comments. But if you can see the lyrics here, this is see what the Lord has done. Can you see what the Lord has done since 9/11 till now? What we waited for has come to pass. See what the Lord has done. And I'll just play a few seconds of.
And you say, my eyes have seen, my ears have heard.
Our eyes have seen and our ears have heard since 20. Stop sharing. Since the 9/11 situation, our eyes have seen, our ears have heard what the Lord has done. And he's given us beauty for ashes. There's still trauma that is being worked through. There's still emotions that are being worked through. People still have PTSD. And again, I would encourage you to tap into those 5 resources. I can keep going. But again, you want to use your deep breathing. You want to be prayerful. You want to walk in nature, walk in nature, walk out by the water, because you're getting that sunlight, you're getting a change of scenery, you're getting fresh air that's going to help your brain function. Um, you want your aromatherapy, of course, whatever your favorite scent is. You want to be a move forward in prayer. You want to have therapeutic communication, whether you want to use your local somebody trusted, a clergy person, or a therapist, trusted therapist. You want to utilize all the tools of, and then give yourself permission to process. We don't always have to be strong, right? We are human. The human nature has a great resiliency to press forward and to move and to bounce back and to learn from and to take from and to cause our what was meant for a stumbling block to be a stepping stone. And that is all by the hand of the Lord, because believe it or not, the hand of the Lord is on your life. And he is working everything for you and I for our good. And so as we move forward, it's my prayer that you are believe something has been said, to bless you, to encourage you, and join with me in praying for today at some point, all the survivors, and those who have lost loved ones, in 9/11, and that we would just move forward. And so I pray that those who are watching, whether they're here live or they're coming through on the replay, that you would touch them in a special way, Lord, today, that you would meet every need that they have in their life according to your riches and glory. Lord, everything that was meant for bad, everything that is coming to distract, to hinder, to block them from their God-given purpose and destiny, that it would be removed, and that they would move and flow in your timing and in your will and your plan for them, that you would send them help, that you would send them resources, that you would send them divine supply, that everything that was predestined for their life, that they would bring it to pass, that it would come to pass, and that you would bring it to pass in this lifetime before our very eyes. I speak life to you. I speak strength to you. I speak encouragement to you. I speak hope to you. I pray that the hand of the Lord would be released in your life, that the blessings of the Lord would be released in your life, that divine favor, divine grace, mercy, and strength would find you on today, and that his presence, I'm not just talking about religion, and I'm not just talking about tradition, and I'm not just talking about a form of fashion. I'm talking about the presence of the Almighty God that is able to shift you and I, into a different place, in different mindset, and into a different mode. All it takes is one moment in his presence to change and shift everything about us. Friends, I am not out of things to say, but I am out of things. I am out of time. I did the song of the day, prayer, quote of the day, healing from trauma. I talked about 5 things to help us heal from trauma. We're sending out a shot of prayer and hope and encouragement to the survivors of 9/11, whether it's a family member, whether it's a first responder, or just someone who was there and survived. And so we are graciously remembering 9/11, and moving forward in, because 2023 is all about the E, encouraging, empowering, and elevating. That's all, my friends. I'll see you next time. God bless.